Okay, so it's been a while since my last video. Just been kind of uninterested, kind of bored. But hey, I'm back now. I'm gonna make this video. So, I found this geography-themed iceberg on Discord. You should join my Discord server, by the way. It's really cool. And I've seen a lot of those iceberg videos, and I felt maybe I should just explain this one, because icebergs, they have a lot of the interesting things on them. You know how icebergs work. I'm not going to explain it to you. We don't have time. But nobody actually explains context behind the entries. So I'm going to do that today. Thanks to Creeper Zombie on Discord for sending me it. That's totally not me, by the way. And yeah, let's get right into this iceberg. China and India have 2.7 billion people combined. So this is just interesting that a huge chunk of the world's population live in just two countries, China and India. The combined population is 2.7 billion. Sudan is in two pieces. So for about almost 10 years now, there's been a Sudan and a South Sudan. South Sudan broke away from Sudan in 2011 mainly due to religious differences, and they are the youngest recognized country in the world today. The USA controls Alaska. Yeah, so they do. The USA purchased Alaska from Russia in 1867, and it is the largest state, but has one of the smallest populations, and it was one of the last states added to the Union in the 1950s, 60s, it's one of the two. Indonesia is massive. So yeah, Indonesia is an island country in Asia with a huge amount of islands, fairly big ones. It's actually a really big country, even though it kind of doesn't look like it. Russia's the biggest country. Russia, even with its fluctuating size throughout the last 100 years, still remains the largest country on the planet. 5 countries are larger than a continent, so technically Australia is a continent if you exclude all the islands. That would make it kind of bigger than other countries. But Australia is officially the 6th largest country on the planet. India, China, the United States, Canada, and Russia are all larger than Australia, so they're technically larger than a continent, which is cool. Maps are mostly inaccurate. So yeah, maps are mostly inaccurate because you're trying to put a 3D sphere onto a 2D image that's flat, and you're going to get distortion. Some maps are worse than others. Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is a region in northern India and northeastern Pakistan. The area was controlled by the British until 1947, where it split away to become its own princely state. The population was mostly Muslim, and the Maharaja was mostly Hindu. Pakistan, a mainly Muslim nation founded out of that entirely, attacked the region to protect the Muslim people. The Hindu Maharaja then sided with India for protection against Pakistan. The two have had countless squabbles over it, and then China got involved as well. There's a really good video by Cheese Waffles, which I recommend if you want a better description. Puerto Rico is American. Yeah, Puerto Rico has been an American territory and potential state since 1898, when the U.S. won the Spanish-American War and annexed that along with a couple other areas. Microstates. Microstates are found throughout the world, but they're specifically found in Europe and Asia. They are very tiny states, smaller sometimes than things like runways or racetracks. Smallest of which is the Vatican City, and there's a couple others like Andorra, Liechtenstein, Monaco, and Brunei over in Asia. The Serbia-Croatia border is based off of the 1991 Danube River. So the border of Serbia and Croatia was set at the Danube River in 1991 when Croatia broke away. Even though it was kind of more officially declared a few years later after wars between the two. However, the Danube has shifted over time with meandering and all that such, meaning Serbia and Croatia now control regions on the other side of the Danube River instead of the border going through the middle. It's a mess, and some of those regions have tried to make their own microstates, but they've both been rejected by Croatia and Serbia. Abkhazia, South Ossetia, Somaliland, Nagorno-Karabakh. So these are all unrecognized breakaway states. Abkhazia and South Ossetia broke away from Georgia in 2008 and are currently recognized by 5 countries. one of which is Russia. Somaliland broke off from Somalia in the Somali Civil War, and are currently like their own little faction that hasn't changed much. Nagorno-Karabakh is a very huge mess, and you've probably heard about it on the news a few times. This is a region in Azerbaijan with a large Armenian population. The region refuses to be part of Azerbaijan, and Armenia and Azerbaijan have fought wars over the region, the most recent being October of 2020. East African Federation. So this is a proposed country between 6 East African countries: Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Uganda, and South Sudan. However, they haven't made any agreements yet, even though there are still talks of uniting the places. Belgian territorial oddities. So Belgium is weird. Belgium is kind of a clash between British and French, and there's no true Belgian. Maybe Brussels, but that's kind of just a further mix. So, in the Netherlands, Belgium and the Netherlands have a messy enclave system known as the towns of Barl Hertog and Barl Nassau. And on the border of Germany, Belgium controls a railway. Oh no, Germany controls. Yeah, it's Belgium. Belgium controls a railway that Germany was forced to give up in 1919 with the Treaty of Versailles. Uzbek, Tajik, Kyrgyz border enclaves. So Joseph Stalin messed around with the borders of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan, all modern-day countries. However, they were all SSRs in the 1930s, and Joseph Stalin messed around with the borders, tangling up ethnicities and all that crap. Today, there are many borders. There's many border issues with enclaves and exclaves, and population dispersion. It's a huge mess. Sinking capitals. So, Mexico City and Jakarta, capitals of Mexico and Indonesia respectively, are sinking into the ocean. Mexico City was built on a lake, so technically sinking into the lake. And Jakarta's on the ocean, and overpopulation and rising ocean levels and blah blah blah. Spanish, French, Dutch, and British empires still remain. So technically, Spain still has an empire. They control African islands and control small cities on Morocco's coast. The French Empire still exists because it controls parts of Antarctica and various islands around the world. The Dutch Empire still exists for the same reason, just minus Antarctica. The British Empire also functions similar to the French now, but no, they're nowhere near their heydays they used to be with, giant colonies. People thought California was an island. Yeah, people used to think that California was an island, and you can even see it on the map in the shallow section if you want to go back to it. Please don't watch the video, finish it first. India-Bangladesh border is a mess. It's a huge mess. India and Bangladesh is part of the 1947 lines drawn by the British to separate Pakistan and India. Why Pakistan and India? Well, because the British can't draw religious borders right. This ended up killing millions of people when Hindus and Muslims tried to go to the right country. Bangladesh broke free from Pakistan in 1971. However, the border looked way worse back then. There are several enclaves and exclaves overlapping each other. It was a humongous mess. But in 2015, they sorted it out. Embassies are exclaves. Technically, this is true. Kind of. In some ways, the country embassy in another country is owned by the country embassy. So say the U.S. Embassy to Israel is in Jerusalem. Technically speaking, the U.S. has an exclave in Jerusalem, meaning New York City is a disaster because of all the embassies there. However, in a non-technical term, non-huge, giant, big brain term, the exclaves don't exist, and the embassies just belong to the country. It just makes the map look better. Every map is personalized. Haha, memes! Ha! Memes! Laugh! Yeah. This is a meme, because every single iceberg puts every blank is personalized. I mean, technically they are if you buy things, or, you scribble on it with your mom's crayons, but whatever. Kazakhstan's world conquest plans. Do not research. Kazakhstan, very nice place. From places that shake the northern and you down. So anyway, that was the iceberg. Yeah, it was good. Maybe I'll re-edit this video and make it not garbage, but yeah, that was it. See ya. Bye-bye.